Thank you for joining me here this evening. The time is currently 8:37 Central, 7:37 Mountain, and you have a live look at a severe thunderstorm currently producing 2-inch in diameter hail, 60-mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts, and may even have a tornado threat associated with it. If we take a look at the velocities, we see they are very intense off to the northeast of Grainfield, Kansas. We take it back a scan and we see they were even more intense, doing some insane gusts here. This gust right here specifically got over 95 miles per hour, half a degree off the surface. This supercell will likely go tornado warn very quickly because it is rotating very well, and in fact, that may be a debris signature. It very well could be. I'm not too sure at this exact moment, but we may have a tornado on the ground here, you guys. Again, this is off to the northeast of Grainfield, Kansas. And okay, that was not a debris signature, most likely. But take it back over to the velocities, and we see, again, they're very intense right now. This cell should really go tornado warn any moment, if I had to guess. We do have another severe thunderstorm in the tri-state area of Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado. It's a very large severe thunderstorm warning. This one is just a general 1-inch diameter hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gust severe thunderstorm. So make sure that you are getting indoors in that warning, but outside of that, you should be fine if you take those precautions. New velocity scan here, still showing some very tight rotation. Again, this is off to the north and the east here of Grainfield, Kansas. We're off to the southeast of Hoxie, Kansas. We did have a tornado warning about 15 to 20 minutes ago. I would have gone live for it, but honestly, the rotation was nothing insane. That was this cell up here. It has honestly kind of picked back up in rotation, though, if we're being real here. I mean, that's some impressive rotation southwest of Norton. So we may even have a tornado try to spin up with that. So they may actually even reissue that tornado warning. It's not as bad as it looks. We are in just a pretty gnarly radar hole, but there is definitely some impressive rotation there near the Keith Sebulis Lake area. And then obviously we've got our storm that is severe warning down here northeast of Grainfield as well. This is confirmed to be producing 2-inch in diameter hail. This is ping pong to egg-sized hail confirmed by a storm chaser. I imagine that was Vince Welty, actually. So if you are in this severe thunderstorm, at this point it would just be best to be taking shelter, because you combine all the threats, right? You've got those damaging winds, that very large hail to destructive hail even, and a possible tornado associated with that storm. You really should just be taking shelter. You're not going to lose anything by taking shelter, but you could lose everything if you don't, all right? So please do be taking shelter if you are in Hoxie or Moreland. This could just be like a good time to take your typical tornado action plan. Yeah, Mr. Storm says, wow, for real. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely rotating a really good amount there south of Hoxie. Again, if anybody knows if it's Hoxie or Hoxie, please let me know. I know this is a bigger city down here in Kansas, especially considering the northwest part of Kansas is not that populated. That's one of the bigger cities there. In northwestern Kansas. So again, just to recap, we have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now. One of them is going to be down here for Sheridan, Gove, and then also Graham counties in Kansas. If you are in this warning, please do be taking cover, because again, this storm is producing potentially up to lime-sized hail here, / egg-sized hail. And then it's also producing some 60-mile-per-hour damaging wind gusts and quite a lot of rotation at this point, honestly. Back up to our storm here near Norton. Again, it's not nearly as impressive as it looks. It looks like there's a violent tornado on the ground, but that's not actually what is the case up here. It's a weird glitch where, I mean, it's not really a glitch, but we are close to where the radar site can't decide whether the winds are going away from the radar or towards the radar. So it kind of mixes the two and makes it look like there's more rotation than there actually is. But again, there is definitely some form of rotation with this storm. It was tornado warned just before this stream started up, so you should be taking this seriously. If you're in Norton, make sure that you are getting indoors, because this is still a pretty intense storm, even if a tornado does not form with that, okay? So again, the only shelter-worthy storm we have right now is the one that's about to cross over Highway 24 near Hoxie and Marland, down here, up here in northwest Kansas. And again, it is rotating quite a bit. It would not surprise me if this were to go tornado warn very shortly here. Again, that's a pretty intense little supercell right there. Again, we did have one tornado warning about 15 to 20 minutes ago, but it wasn't rotating anything crazy. That is the storm up that's by Norton now. But honestly, I'd say it's rotating more impressively now than it was earlier. So again, we may see this get re-warned here. But again, a lot of it is weird radar contamination too. It was actually tornado warned around here. You can see there was a decently impressive velocity couple there near Jennings that never ended up doing anything, though I do not believe. Died out pretty quickly, and then the warning did get removed very shortly after it was issued, actually. Okay, so again, our rotation up here near Norton still pretty strong. Hello, Mr. Storm. And our velocity couplet down here near Tasco, again, I think this should get tornado warned pretty shortly here. Again, please do be taking shelter, because even without a tornado threat, this is still producing hail up to egg size. So, take shelter immediately. Numerous reports of 2-inch in diameter hail now. That was whenever this storm went through the grain field area. And I will admit the hail core was a little bit more impressive back then, but it is still very intense. So again, just, this is a good time to go over your tornado action plan. What would you do if there was a tornado right now? Make sure that you are doing that. Again, if we do have a correlation coefficient drop, it would be located in there, but it does not look like we do yet. That is all radar contamination at the moment. I'm kind of getting better at telling what's contamination and what's not, which is a vital part of looking at radars, because sometimes it may look like there's a violent tornado on the ground, when really there's nothing. Oh, hey, John McKinney. No problem. It's good to see you back. I love doing this coverage. So again, our storm here southeast of Hoxie is rotating pretty decently. This may get tornado warned, but it may not, though, because it already has a severe warning with the tornado possible tag on it. So it's just going to depend. We'll have to see what happens here. It's not rotating like insane or anything, but it would not totally shock me if that did get tornado warned. And again, we do have a little bit of rotation back up near Norton, but a lot of it is contamination, so it's not as bad as it looks. Alright. So again, we do have a little bit of rotation there south of Tasco, so remember, please do be taking shelter. This storm is also capable of producing egg-sized hail, and it has several times near the Grainfield area. So please do be taking shelter if you are included in this warning, just as a standard precautionary tornado action plan, all right? There's not necessarily a tornado. There's definitely not a tornado with this right now. But, there's no harm in pretending that there is, because this is still a pretty strong storm, and it's always nice to go over your tornado action plan every once in a while, because especially up here in Kansas, I mean, you guys are getting tornadoes every week, all right? So it's always best to be, prepared, know what you're going to do if there's a tornado, because, I mean, in the springtime, it's just like back-to-back coverage out here in the plains. Again, we do have quite a bit of rotation there south of Tasco. It is not able to produce a tornado yet, most likely. Again, that looks like a debris signature, but that's actually just contamination there from the radar site, I do believe. Our mode of storms down in Texas and Oklahoma here, the Red River Valley area, alright? You guys are under enhanced risk of severe weather. The initiation time for storms for you guys is not until much later tonight, alright? We're talking 12 a.m., 1 a.m., maybe not until even 2 a.m. until we actually get anything significant down here. If we take a look at the most recent run of the NAM, we can see, well, I guess we're going to have to take a look at the previous model, because this one is just now coming out. Take a look at the 18Z here. We can see that it was painting the picture for the 8 to 9 p.m. time frame that we are in now to be somewhat similar to this, right? They were painting some showers out there, maybe an isolated rumble of thunder, and that's pretty much what's going on, except for a little less active than that, actually. They're not painting the actual event to start down here until 1 a.m., all right? Around 1 a.m., they start to enter the Crosby-10 area. 2 a.m., they get to Paducah. 3 a.m., Vernon. 4 a.m., Wichita Falls. 5 a.m., they go through Norman there, and then by 6 a.m., they're starting to sweep through areas like Ardmore. 7 a.m., those are kind of breaking apart, and they become a little bit less intense. But we do definitely still have a pretty high-end threat down here in the Red River Valley tonight, so if you do plan on going to bed early, or, I guess it's not that early to go to bed before midnight and 1 a.m., please do be sure that you have multiple ways to receive alerts in case something, bad does end up happening. Again, it's a very low chance that your house specifically gets hit by a tornado, but if it does, you're going to want to wish that you had taken the proper precautions. I cannot speak. So anyway, back on our storm up here in Kansas. I mean, all of our storm chasers are on this, you guys. We've got Caleb Beecham. We have got Willard Sharp. We've got Corey Gherkin. We've got, what's his face? Brandon Kopic, Vince Welty, Brad Arnold. All right, we've got everybody on this storm here. We've got Connor Croft down here a little bit further to the southwest, but he's still out there near this general area. Yeah, again, it's trying to rotate. It really is. It's just not succeeding very well. Yeah, I mean, there's basically no rotation left with this. Pretty much all of this at this point is just contamination. This storm is only producing 50-mile-per-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. Again, it was tornado warned earlier, but that was whenever it was rotating much more strongly. That was before this stream. I said I would go live for any tornado warnings that happened this evening, but it wasn't that impressive of rotation. I mean, as you can see, it got removed immediately from the National Weather Service, so I was calling my friend. I really didn't want to, cut in. I'm watching the storms near Wood River as they are tracking toward our location. All right, sounds good. But yeah, I didn't want to, hang up on my friend just to cover a low-end tornado warning, all right? So, again, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now, no tornado warnings, actually. This evening has not been nearly as active as we would have thought. After this afternoon was so active, we were really thinking this evening would be pretty bad, but really so far it's not been anything crazy. Just your standard damaging wind and large hail action for the most part. No tornadoes this evening. We had 3 or 4 this afternoon, but not any this evening. Depending on what you consider the evening time hours, obviously. All right. So, let's see here. Let's go ahead and bring up the... Oh yeah, I forgot. This is frozen right now. Let's bring up Oklahoma City. Let's bring up Norman here more specifically. You can see right now the dew point is actually almost 70 degrees. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way. It is an extension for our storm here. It has been downgraded to ping pong ball-sized hail now as it is entering Norton. I did mention that, hail core is looking a little bit less impressive. And it no longer has the tornado possible tag as the rotation has kind of fizzled out here. At this point, it's mostly contamination, all right? So you don't have to seek shelter necessarily, but I would get indoors and away from windows still, as that is still definitely producing some large hail, to potentially even very large hail, up to ping pong ball size there, okay? So look out for that. I guess while we're here, we can kind of break down what's going to happen tomorrow, all right? So tomorrow, we do have another enhanced risk of severe weather, if you're not aware, this one being even bigger than today's. This is going to include parts of southwest Iowa, southeastern Nebraska, northwestern Missouri, and northeastern Kansas. Taking a look at the tornado threat. This is driven by a 10% hatch risk for tornadoes, so we'll be live here tomorrow covering severe weather for a good chunk of the Great Plains here once again. This is kind of more out to the east of the plains for the most part, though. This is Tornado Alley right here, you guys. So we're going to watch this event very closely. This looks to be even more active than today. And then we'll also talk about Saturday really quickly, because Saturday could even be more impressive. So far, there's nothing stopping this from being a violent tornado outbreak here on Saturday for parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri. We're going to have to really watch this, you guys. Day 3 enhanced risks don't get issued unless there's going to be a big-time severe weather outbreak. We also have a hatch risk inside of that. So it's getting pretty serious, you guys, on Saturday. We're going to have to really watch what happens. I do believe a moderate risk will be issued at some point, most likely, as this is shaping up to potentially be the biggest outbreak of the year out here in the plains, all right? It's going to be no good deal, you guys. Let's actually go and take a look at the models, all right? What are they showing? All right, so we take a look at the NAM 3KM, all right? This is right now. Obviously, we got our storms out there in the, I forgot, the NAM 3KM newest model is not loaded yet. Okay, 18Z, there we go. So this is what they were predicting for right now. That pretty much came to tuition, all right? They were talking about strong to severe storms impacting parts of Kansas and Nebraska at this time. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. And now, what's after this, right? So we talked about how our storms down here will explode in parts of the Red River Valley. That'll be an overnight event. By 7 and 8 a.m. tomorrow, we are going to be looking at a widespread line of storms extending all the way from Minnesota back down into Texas. Yes, one line of storms these kind of groups of storms merge into one and create a line of storms going all the way from Texas into Minnesota. That is insane. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning, by the way. That's going to be for Beatrice, Nebraska. That is a storm capable of producing 1 inch in diameter hail, so make sure that you are getting indoors there. So this is tomorrow morning, all right? But it gets worse, all right? We take it into tomorrow afternoon. Our real event of storms does kind of pop off here in Iowa, so I guess that's more tomorrow evening. Around 9 p.m., we're starting to see these little discrete supercells trying to pop off here in portions of Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, Kansas, all right? So that'll be a pretty interesting event to watch. I'll probably even get quite a bit of action in my neck of the woods down here in central, southeastern Illinois. And then we go into Saturday, the big day that I've been talking about. All right, so Saturday doesn't start off too impressive, but around 11 a.m. we start to notice some of these discrete little cells out here on the Texas-Oklahoma border. Well, those are going to continue to travel northward and get even stronger. By noon, we're talking about areas like Butler, Oklahoma, in the threat of a potential supercell. All right, these supercells, they look like they could be pretty potent if they are as discrete as the NAM 3KM is painting. We got cells up here in Kansas that are able to become discrete. We got some down here in southeast Kansas, some all the way down in Oklahoma, some even stretching all the way back into Texas. And again, guys, if this comes to tuition here, we could have a strong tornado threat on our hands for sure, you guys. So we're definitely going to have to watch out on Saturday and even going into Sunday here, all right? So make sure that you guys do have multiple ways to receive alerts if you are on the risks of severe weather on Saturday there especially, but any day coming up where we have severe weather. I think that is going to be it for this live stream here. Nothing too crazy is going on. We only have 4 severe thunderstorm warnings. I will say this storm near Beatrice does actually have a very impressive hail core right now near Odell, so make sure that you are, again, getting indoors and away from windows. It is heading for a pretty populated area there, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and actually take one last check here at the power outage map. So currently we've got about 1,350 customers without power in Kansas. Earlier that was, 2,300. A lot of those have been restored by now. Nebraska, you're only sitting at about 42. There's not a lot, okay? Missouri, on the other hand, is sitting at about 6,100 due to the high winds that we've had out here in western Missouri today. West central Missouri has gotten battered by high winds. We did actually just get a new severe thunderstorm warning. That is going to be there in parts of Kansas. That's for the Colby area, the Rexford area. Maybe I do want to stay live for a little bit. We got 5 severe thunderstorm warnings. As soon as I'm about to end, everything wants to pop off. Well, maybe we'll stay live here for a little bit covering these. Little last round of sneaky storms is trying to pop off here on the Kansas-Nebraska border. By the way, the enhanced risk of severe weather has been dropped for this area. The only enhanced risk that we have now is down here in the Red River Valley. We still do have an isolated threat for a tornado in this area here, so we'll continue to watch these storms. There's quite a bit of spin in the atmosphere. Our supercell near Beatrice is not rotating very impressively, and it's kind of hard to tell with some of the other ones because they're in such messy radar zones. But it doesn't look like any of them are rotating too impressively, except for maybe the one near Hoxie. Moving up towards the Marland area. Again, we do have our storm here on the Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas tri-state area near Ray. Kind of just ripped through Ray. All right. Train weather spotters near Idalia at 7:30 reported 1 inch in diameter hail. That was about 26 minutes ago, if they're talking about mountain time. And this is a very large severe thunderstorm warning, you guys. This does include 4 counties, but it includes a good chunk of all of them. So anywhere in here, you're going to want to be getting indoors because this is definitely a pretty big hailstorm, also definitely producing quite a bit of damaging winds, and heavy rainfall, and quite a bit of cloud-to-ground lightning, it looks like, as well. Got a big cluster of lightning there. Colby has gotten hit incredibly hard today. It's gotten like 6 rounds of severe storms. Hopefully this is the last one for you guys tonight, Colby, and there's a good chance that it is. But it just ended off with a bang here. A ping-pong ball-sized hailstorm and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. So again, if you are in this warning, make sure that you are getting indoors and away from windows. Off to the north of Colby now. Same thing with our storm near Norton. Our storm approaching the Beatrice area is not too intense other than a hail threat, but I'll say that hail core is very impressive near Odell right now. We've got several readings of 70 dBZs. Alright. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Storm Prediction Center website. Let's go ahead and kind of talk about the mesoscales that are in effect, so that you guys can kind of get an idea of what's going to continue here for the rest of the evening. Currently, we only have one mesoscale discussion in effect. It reads, severe threat continues across Weather Watch 134. Additional development possible over the next couple of hours. So they're talking about maybe a few more severe thunderstorms popping off here for portions of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Or at least the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma, and then southwestern Kansas. The big Texas and Oklahoma event will be later tonight. But right now, this is the outlook here until 9:45 p.m. Central, which is actually about in 45 minutes now for that region. We do have two tornado watches that do remain in effect. This one here is for parts of the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, and then also southeastern Colorado. You guys are still in that watch. And then 133, this is for parts of northwest Kansas, southwest Nebraska, and east central Colorado and northeastern Colorado. You guys are still in that watch in that region, okay? So those are our watches and mesoscales that we do have in effect currently. Let's go ahead and cut back here to the severe weather. And we don't really have any rotating storms right now, which is good. These are mainly going to be damaging wind and large hail threats as we go later into this evening. I will say this line is very impressive here. This is going to be heading towards the St. Francis area very soon here in, I believe, what is Kansas? Yes, that's Kansas. In northwest Kansas there, far northwestern Kansas. So again, this storm is definitely producing some large hail and big large continues like this. By the way, you guys, can we just give a quick shout out to Ryan Hall? Even on a less significant severe weather event like today's, he has still been live for over 4 hours. And normally, you know, he's live for 8 to 12 hours. He really puts in a lot of work. I mean, for the past 4 hours, he didn't even get the big tornadoes in the beginning. He got one of them, I think. But for the most part, he's just been sitting here, you know, looking at these regular old severe storms. By the way, we do have an update on our storm near Beatrice. It is now warned for golf ball size hail. I kind of thought this was doing some pretty large hail, as I pointed out earlier near Odell. If you are included in this warning, make sure that you are getting indoors and away from windows. Once again, I was literally just looking at that storm. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning now. This does include the far western portion of the Grand Island Metro there in Nebraska. This storm is warned for 1 inch in diameter hail. If we take a look at the velocities, we see there's not too much of a damaging wind threat, maybe an isolated pocket of downburst winds southwest of Wood River at the minute. That's actually where John McKinney said that he is. So, there we go. I hope he has a fun time with that. Again, we got all of our chasers on Interstate 70 right now in Kansas. For the most part. Obviously, we got a few outside of that, but... Again, this is definitely a very impressive line of storms here. This is going to continue to sweep through parts of northwest Kansas and southwestern Nebraska. Probably at least going to make it to the McCook region, maybe even as far as Norton, Kansas. As far east as Norton, Kansas, I should say. Our storm has been upgraded now to egg-sized hail in Norton. So if you're including that warning, make sure that you are getting indoors and now away from windows, preferably in an interior room. Definitely don't go to sleep in that warning. You're going to want to watch out for that one, for the large hail threat. But once that gets past you, you're probably done for the night, Norton. Maybe a couple rounds of smaller storms, but nothing like this. This will be probably your biggest storm of the day. Don't think Norton's gotten hit too hard today. They've had severe storms, but I mean everywhere in Kansas has today, pretty much. At least in the western portion of the state. If you're not in the western portion, you didn't get the severe storms. You got the high winds in the eastern portion of the state. So, Kansas has gotten hit pretty hard today. We got another new severe thunderstorm warning. We're up to 6 now. That is going to be there. That is not the one for Colby, Kansas. Which one is that? I don't know which one that is. I only see 5 on the screen. 6, 1, 2. Oh, is it this one? No? Maybe. If it is this one for Oxford, that's for 1 inch in diameter hail there in Nebraska. I don't think that's the new one, though. It's the, I really don't know which one that is. I don't see it. Oh, well. It would point out to me if it was really a big deal, so apparently it's not that crazy. I'm just kidding, but, you know, just get indoors, away from windows, as the threat is with a lot of these severe storms at this point. It's not the one for Wood River. I don't know. I really don't. At this moment, which one is the new warning? Again, we're kind of split between 2 radar zones right now. We're kind of using both the Hastings, Nebraska radar site and then also the radar site in Goodland, Kansas interchangeably here. I think at this moment, though, we are actually going to end off the live stream here. Oh, was it this one? It was this one. No, it was the other 2 inch one. I don't know. One of these ones is new. If you're in the area, you probably know which one that is. So, anyway, I do want to thank you all for tuning into this live stream. It has been relatively eventful. I didn't think we were really going to get much, but we did get some pretty large hailstorms out there. So, again, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.